I'm Dr. Purnima Nagaraja, a mental health professional. Today I'm going to talk to you children about depression and about your feelings. A lot of us adults don't notice that your kids are going through something. We believe it's okay. We believe that this is the age where you're energetic and you can study, you can do a lot of things. Obviously, your children think differently. Recently, people of your age have been doing really terrible things to themselves. I'm sure you watched it in the papers and on the news. Whenever we feel that there is something wrong, there probably is. And you should be talking to somebody. Yes, study is a horrible strain to all of us. Particularly the amount of studying that all of you are doing these days, I don't think I've ever done it in my student days. Yet we passed exams, yet we got our seats, yet I became a doctor. But today, the world for you is a very unhappy place. Look for happiness in this wonderful world. Please look around you. Life is beautiful. Life is wonderful. It's just that, we are so bent over our books like this that we don't get to see the world around us. God gave you a brain, and the brain has an imagination. Whenever you're stressed out with studies, I always say, take a mental vacation. 5 minutes, a break that takes you around the world. A break that takes you to your friend's house. A break that takes you to the Pizza Hut. A break that takes you anywhere, but takes you off your studies. Studying for 12 to 14 hours is not a joke. Less sleep, tired, angry, irritable. And all of you are teenagers, youngsters. So you have a crush on somebody, you have breakups, you have commitments. All of this which mom and dad don't know about. And all of this can be very upsetting, isn't it? So when you're upset, what do? I've seen many of you self-harm. Bang your head on a wall or harm yourself, cut yourself, hit yourself. Be very, very frustrated, get depressed, have crying spells, have mood swings. Some of us binge on food. We just need to eat just to feel less anxious. Some of us, we just stop eating because we feel that life is, it's not worth living. Some of us feel that, why am I even alive? What am I doing on this planet except study? You can do a lot if you can self-regulate. I've always said this, not just to my own, but to people around me and all the youngsters that I meet in my profession. What is stopping you from, I'll say that again, and to the youngsters I meet in my profession, what is stopping you from self-regulating? Why would you need the world to tell you what to do if you can do it yourself? If you could draw up a plan that included study, a little bit of play, some breaks, some chit-chatting with your parents, a little bit of time on social media with your friends, I don't think anybody would question you. But what happens is we're lying in bed all day, staying awake all night on phone, whether our parents know it or not, watching TV and horror shows, chatting with friends, networking on social media. But parents notice that you're not studying. And yes, our grades suffer. If you're stressed out, if there's something that's bothering you, don't you think your parents are the best people to talk about it to? A lot of people say, no, we don't want to talk to our parents because they'll get angry. So, parents get angry. Adults get angry. It's not that they hate you, right? They won't get angry on some random person on the road. They get angry with you. Some people, yes, they can be a little unreasonable because it's their own anxiety. Our children should do well in life. Talk it out with them and say, look, Dad, I really need to talk to you for 10 minutes and you have to give me this time. When was the last time any of you went and actually spoke to your parents? Instead of hiding and lying and doing all these things, why don't you just have a straight talk and say, Mom and Dad, look, sit here for 5 minutes. I really need to talk to you. This is how I'm feeling. I'm upset. I'm depressed. I'm not sure what I want to do in my life. I am on the crossroads. I know you want me to do an engineering course or a law course. I don't want to do it. I'm having all these kind of doubts. Can somebody talk to me? Or can you take me to a professional? I'm sure your parents will sit down and say, okay, we are sitting right here. Talk to us. You can have an argument with them. It doesn't matter. You might even not agree with them or they might not agree with you. All of that might happen. But at least you're talking to them. You're talking to somebody. Don't let the frustration build up so that you feel the need to self-harm. So much mental anguish that you have to do something to your body to harm it or hurt it in some way just to feel better. Is that a healthy coping skill, tell me? Absolutely not. So there are healthy coping skills like taking a nap, taking a break, some time out, go taking a walk, doing some form of exercise, reading a book. That's not your textbook, of course. All of these are healthy coping skills. Taking up a hobby, doing some meditation, doing some deep breathing, doing some kind of a dance or a hip hop in your own room, even if you can't go out, anything like that. But what are the unhealthy coping skills? Anger, frustration, harming yourself, harming others, getting angry, throwing remotes, breaking property, tearing your books, not studying, withdrawing from people, not talking to people, sitting in your room all alone. These are not very healthy coping skills. We need to learn how to cope. Life is stressful, education is extremely stressful, and that seems to be center stage in everybody's life these days. Your jobs, your career, your life, what's ahead of you, what stress? Stress busting is very easy. Start with some deep breathing first thing in the morning, even before you get out of bed. Take a deep breath, let it out. Take a deep breath, let it out. Try to get at least 6 hours of sleep. A little time away from your mobile phone. Make it a rule, after 10 o'clock or after 9 o'clock in the night, I won't touch the mobile phone, even if it's with me. I won't touch my laptop. Don't get hooked onto games. Don't get hooked onto games. Games can be awful. As long as they're recreational, it's okay, but when then they become an addiction, it becomes a problem. Don't get hooked onto porn. They can actually twist your mind. If there is somebody abusing you, if there is somebody touching you inappropriately, talking to you inappropriately, tell your parents. Tell somebody, anybody, whoever you trust. Don't let it spoil your life. Tell somebody. If you're feeling upset, if you feel like crying, if you feel that life wasn't worth living, please talk to somebody. These things can actually pull you out of this emotional quagmire. Youngsters are emotional. Youngsters are impulsive. We know all of that. It's all your hormones just rushing into your body. But all you need to do is take a little time out and say, okay, where am I headed? Am I heading towards drugs? Is that the right thing to do? It might make me feel better for the time being, but I know for sure that in the long run it ain't good. Why am I drinking so much alcohol? Why am I sneaking out and smoking? These are things that my parents don't like. But why am I doing it? Is it cool because my friends are doing it? Do I need to be a part of a peer group? Do I need to feel like I belong? All of these things are things that you need to think about and say, where am I going wrong? I know life is not just studying, but also life is not doing all of these things. Don't get onto the wrong path. Don't do risky things. It's really not worth it. Honestly, it's really not worth it. What you need to do is constructively construct your life. Just like life is like a Lego game. If you construct it properly, you have walls, you have anything you want to construct. If you don't, the whole thing will come crashing down. And when it comes crashing down, a lot of people commit suicide, a lot of people self-harm, a lot of people do things that they wouldn't have otherwise done. So, take a little time, talk to people, time out from your gadgets, lead a good life. Make sure you maintain a diary that says, okay, today was a great day, I did a fantastic job, and today wasn't so great. Now, why wasn't it so great? How could I make it great? Practice breathing, practice yoga, have some good lifestyle changes. By all means, eat whatever you like, but also eat some healthy food that's made at home. Don't argue too much. Talk. You don't have to shout when you can talk. So talk. If you feel that you're not getting through to your parents, mail them. Write them a nice mail or on a message on WhatsApp that says, this is what I'm feeling. I'm not able to get through to you. Would you please read this? Believe me, parents love you. It's not that they don't. Sometimes they have the darnest way of showing it. And their own parental anxiety about your education and about your future probably dictates them to behave in certain ways that probably are not conducive to you. Try talking to them. Believe me, it works. Try and lead a happy life. Life is worth living. Life is beautiful, and life is something that we can cherish. So make sure you facilitate your own life to be fantastic. Life can be really hard, particularly for youngsters. On one side, there is so much stress of education, and on the other side, just the whole idea of going to school where you have no friends. Just the idea of going to school where people are making fun of you. People are saying really nasty things. People are saying nasty things on social media. There was this young lady who, she's from Britain. She was trolled mercilessly and told she was fat and ugly and that she should take her life, and she did. So many such stories. What does one do when one goes to a premier institute but you don't like the course? You're completely disillusioned once you go there and you say, this is not what I thought it was. Nothing wrong with the course, it's just that you don't like it maybe. Or maybe it wasn't what you expected it to be. What does one do when you go to university and you find that you have no friends and that people are ignoring you? What does one do when you feel lonely and want to talk to somebody, but there is nobody. A lot of people resort to Google and say, okay, these are my symptoms. And then you'll see a whole bunch of things. It is a plethora of things that say good things and bad things. Some people say you should not talk to anybody about it, be self-contained. And some people say go talk to somebody. So we are completely confused. Do we talk to somebody or do we keep it within ourselves? A lot of people believe that, yeah, I can solve these things myself. Can you? Really? So sometimes little things, probably you can take help of the net and you can say, okay, fine, this is what I'm going to do, this is what I'm going to do, and try it out. But when your trials are not bearing fruit, and if you're still feeling lousy, if you still feel that I'm not able to fit in here, or probably this is not the course for me, and you're afraid to talk to your parents about it because, wow, I mean, it's the best institute in the world and you're right there. So then what? Again, I would say talk to somebody. The reason why I say, and I keep repeating that you should talk to somebody, is because sometimes our own resources fall short. If you were cooking something and you fell short of a little salt, would you cook it anyway? Or would you ask somebody, hey, can I just borrow some salt, I'll give it back to you? You'd borrow it, right? Because what's a dish without salt in it? So the same way, this is about your life. Why should you not take advice? Why should you not talk to a senior, maybe, a colleague, an aunt, an uncle, a parent, a teacher, somebody who will probably be able to see things more holistically than you. Sometimes we can't see it because we're right in the middle of it, right? When you're the eye of the hurricane, you can't see the extent of the hurricane, can you? So if this hurricane is inside your head and you're right in the middle of it, can you see? No, you can't. So then what do? A lot of people prefer to wallow. Oh God, I'm going through this, so let me lock my door. Let me not come out. Let me not eat. Do I deserve to eat? Do I deserve to be here? So you have self-esteem issues, you have thought issues, you have a lot of negative thoughts about yourself, and these are called cognitive distortions. Cognitive distortions happen when you are so upset and you're anxious that you start feeling negative things about you. Oh, I don't deserve this. I'm not good enough. I'm not good looking enough. I'm not smart enough. None of that is true. Everybody has their own capabilities, less or more, but none of that is true. But we build these walls, and once you build a wall, they almost become impregnable. You can't break that wall down. It becomes very difficult to break that wall. So then you retreat behind those walls. Retreat into depression, retreat into anxiety, retreat into obsessively thinking about these things, retreat into self-harm, retreat into drugs, retreat into suicidal behavior. So how does one come out of this? The first thing you need to do is learn to break these barriers. Some of them you can break them on your own. Talk to your mind. If your mind says you're ugly, you're not good enough, and say, why? I look okay. Nobody's ever said I'm ugly. Let's assume somebody is calling you ugly. Oh, you're ugly, you're horrible, we don't want to be your friend. You need to challenge them and say, like, what has my looks got to do with you being my friend? Isn't that about my soul? Isn't that about me? Then you need to question yourself also. If somebody believes that I'm not good looking and therefore doesn't want to be my friend, do I deserve to even talk to such a people? Does that person deserve me as their friend? I'm definitely a loyal friend, but if they can't see it, should I be even bothering about it? Question your mind, challenge your mind. Write these things down. Take a piece of paper and write down 10 positive things about yourself and 10 negative things about yourself. Positive things and negative things don't mean, oh, I got the Nobel Prize or I got the McSaucy Award. Little things, I have a nice smile, I dress well, I have lovely hair, I have a nice dimple on my left cheek, I do well in my studies, I have a nice handwriting, I help people, I respect people. Things like that. When you start looking at what you've written, you'll realize, hey, I'm not that bad after all. Listen to calming music. Nature sounds are wonderful. Talk to yourself about self-esteem and say, like, why don't people like me? You'll see that there is actually no answer. It's just a prejudice that people have. You have two options there. Pick up the courage, take a deep breath like that, and go and talk to them and say, why don't you like me? Can we be friends? And if they say no, some people can be rather nasty and mean, isn't it? And if they say no, we don't want to talk to you, then say fine. And then try and find other friends. If you feel that in your university or in your school or in your college you can't find people who will talk to you, go out, take a class. Go for hip hop, a dance class, chess or sports, an adventure group, a walking group, anything to make more new friends. Don't resort to social media and talk to virtual people. You might get trapped and you won't even know it. Sometimes you don't even know the gender of the person you're talking to, and you'll be leaning on them heavily emotionally. They'll be egging you on, and before you know it, you're deep in trouble. The same way, when you trust people also, be a little wary. Don't talk to all and sundry. Find your niche, find the people who will talk to you, and then talk to them. But nevertheless, you can always divert your mind by going out, like I said, going out and meeting new people, different classes. Don't tell me you don't have time for it. We all have time for it. He said that we are so bogged down by our feelings that we feel we don't have the time for it. If you have an option of probably changing your branch or changing your college, do it. If you're so miserable, do it. But if you're in a big prestigious college and you can't change, would you like to take a semester break until you collect yourself and calm down, see somebody, take some therapy, start feeling better? No, not an option? Then let's see what we can do to make you more self-contained. Don't sit in a room all locked up. Go for walks, join a sports club, read books other than your professional subject books, read self-help books, read for the heck of it. Spend time with yourself. Being lonely and being alone are two different things. Enjoy your aloneness. Call your mom over and say, come on, spend a weekend here, or your dad or anybody. Go visit a school friend who you feel like visiting. Refresh yourself and come back. Try to finish your assignments on time so that your teachers know that you're right on track. Try and get into good academics. Study as best as you can, given the circumstances. If you're feeling depressed, take help. If you're feeling sad and overwhelmed, take a break. If you need help, there are lots of people who want to talk to you and will definitely help you. Take help, and this too will pass. May not be easy, maybe the toughest thing you ever did, and might leave you with terrible memories. But if you can't help it, go through with it and finish it. If you find that the course is not good enough, negotiate it with your parents. If you feel that this is not what I wanted and this is not right for me, see if you can just finish it and then do whatever you wanted next. Or if you want to give this a break, talk to your parents about it. Talk to anybody about it, but talk. Don't indulge in self-harm. Don't indulge in suicidal behavior. Don't indulge in risk-taking behavior. Be there for yourself, and you'll see how well things work out for you, slowly but steadily.